all can see for our own eyes what the issues are. And, personally, the lack of awareness is alarming and has been alarming. I feel like we've been talking about this for a year. I feel like we're right back where we were last year at this time. The only difference is in this particular game, he didn't throw any interceptions. He missed a lot of wide open guys. I thought Tony Romo did an amazing tutorial as the game wore on about different guys that were open and guys that he wasn't seeing. I could sit here and tell you that he plays with horse blinders on. I could tell you that I know in practice he looks like he knows what he's doing, but when it comes to the game, it's moving too fast for him. He can't process it. I don't ever want to see any athlete ever go through what he's going through right now because, Edwin Diaz went through it. I'm sure, there have been Knicks, there have been Rangers, there have been a lot of people that have gone through this that have never been able to come out of it, and I was trying to think last night, I guess the last Ranger that went through this was a guy by the name of Wade Redden. Every time he touched the puck, the fans were coming down on him. And I just feel like that's where we are with Zach Wilson. It's just like enough is enough. And I know that Rob Saleh is trying to support his quarterback. I know they're trying to get him through this. I know his teammates are all saying the right thing after the game. But, the reality of it is, the teammates are talking about it behind his back. We all know that. We all know that the Garrett Wilsons of the world and the Sauce Gardners of the world are going like, what's going on? We can't win with this guy. And, it's always important for every football team to have that guy that can stand up in front of your team. And you believe that you can win any game when you have that player at the most important position. The Jet players, regardless of what they say, and they're all trying to be professional, from Mekhi Becton to Sauce Gardner to Garrett Wilson, the body language tells me different on the sideline. After the game with the microphones in front of their face, I give them a lot of credit for trying to be as professional as they possibly can. They're not going to dump on their teammate publicly, no matter what the Jet fan wants. No matter how sick you are of watching Zach Wilson, the players are not going to
I don't think any Jet fan wants the team to say something publicly about it.
I saw Mekhi Becton give an interview yesterday after the game, and he was supportive of his quarterback. And then, you see it on X.
Yeah.
And then you see all the the responses to what he's saying. And it's almost like they're annoyed at Mekhi Becton for supporting his teammate. I mean, this is the thing. We work here at WFAN. We try to support our guys. We'll bust each other's chops and all that other stuff, but we'll support each other. These players have no choice but to get in front of that microphone and say what they're saying. But I'm telling you about the reality behind the scene. Behind the scenes, it's a completely different set of circumstances. It's players hanging out together last night going, we don't get a chance. We don't have a chance. We can't win. And, next week it's Kansas City.
Yeah, I think the bigger issue that the fans want to hear, it's not even so much the players slamming Zach Wilson. It's Rob Saleh stop having his back as much as he does. I understand having it his first year, his second year, he's the starter. This is our guy. We drafted him. He's the future of the organization. That stuff has to stop now. And I was listening to Mike Tannenbaum talk about this, and sure, he had his flaws as general manager of the Jets, but he's a guy who has done it. He's done it in this market. And he said that Rob Saleh's got a big problem on his hands because he's not holding the quarterback accountable anywhere.
That's right. That's the problem.
And he goes, I just saw a guy get benched, a healthy scratch, by a coach on a hot seat with the Chargers who's making $82 million guaranteed. J.C. Jackson. And then people see that and go, okay, this coach has got control of things because this guy's not living up to the billing and whatever, even though Brandon Staley sucks. But, at least sends a message. Rob Saleh standing up there going, no, Zach's our guy. I got the back, not holding him accountable. And then when he's asked about how they lose and he brings up everybody else, he goes, it's not just the quarterback. The defense has got to get more turnovers. The offensive line needs to play better. Like the wide receivers. I don't know if they're hearing that or not, but if I were Garrett Wilson or I were Mekhi Becton or I was the defense and I heard that, I'd be like, dude, stop! I'm doing everything I can. And I know he's trying to do everything he can too in Zach Wilson, but he can't do it. It's just the stubbornness of this organization with this guy is mind-boggling. And I know that the options aren't great, but I was thinking about this. It's sort of like, and not to make this a morbid thing, but I remember when Andy Kaufman, when I was watching the Andy Kaufman documentary and he had cancer and he was stage 5 and there's nothing they could do for him. And he went to Mexico to give it a shot, some experimental thing. And nobody knew it was going to work, but he gave it a shot. And it seemed like he was trying to do everything he could to live, even though the options weren't great. That's what the Jets need to do. They got to try anything or everything or something other than Zach Wilson because right now they're about to go into hospice.
You know, it's amazing. You watch Andy Dalton yesterday. You watch Gardner Minshew yesterday.
Minshew, okay.
Minshew yesterday.
Yeah.
Both competent players. You know, Andy didn't win out in Seattle. It was a tough game. It was pouring rain. Then you see Gardner Minshew lead Indianapolis to a win, albeit by 5 field goals by Matt Gay, their field goal kicker, who had an amazing day down in Baltimore. I mean, the Jets don't have anybody remotely close to that right now. That's not who Tim Boyle is, and that's the problem. I mean, this whole thing got thrown right into the wood chopper as soon as Aaron Rodgers went down.
No, I know.
And I'm not saying that they would have won any of these games anyway with Aaron Rodgers playing, because quite frankly, when you give up 160 yards on the ground, and there were wide receivers who did drop passes that hit them in the hands, and maybe that's what Rob Saleh is alluding to. I mean, the object in this sport is to have a guy that's behind center that elevates everybody else. You know, with the paramount of that being what Patrick Mahomes is doing with his group out in Kansas City. You know, the group here in New York is better than the group there, with the exception of the tight end. You know, and when you take a look at the skill players, you said, okay, I'll take the Jets skill players over those skill players, but I'm not taking a quarterback over that quarterback.
No.
Because that quarterback plays at a level that this quarterback can only dream of playing at. And I know that internally, there is no question, you are 100% right. Internally, the players basically are right where they were last year. And what I think Joe Douglas and Rob Saleh have done here, and it's more Joe than it is Rob, because Joe is controlling the roster, is for whatever reason, I don't know the answer. I wish I knew the answer to this. For whatever reason, they don't want to bring somebody in at this point to what? To like upset Zach Wilson? I mean, if that is the reason why, I'm sorry. You're in the wrong business, man, because and I know you don't want to always listen to the fans if you're a general manager and a coach, because if you listen to the fans, you end up sitting with the fans. But there is a certain point where there is a point of no return, and you're not getting any return from your quarterback. So from a logical, practical standpoint, much like they did last year, they have to do something this year. But at the moment, they're not doing anything. Now, I know that both Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan have called the Jets. The Jets did not call either one of them back.
Right. And Chad Henne apparently was approached by the Jets, and he said no.
He's retired. And he was the backup for Patrick Mahomes, who went in there, won some games, in little bits and pieces. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he said no, he doesn't want to come back. So, I mean, I know that there's movement in that area, but for the stubbornness of the Jets right now is really what's remarkable. And I don't see how they can come out of it. I don't see where Zach Wilson all of a sudden is going to turn it on and figure it out. I mean, he's had 3 chances.
Well, you're waving the white flag on the season if you keep sending him out there, and that's the problem. Now, I'm not saying that bringing in Carson Wentz or trading for somebody is absolutely going to work, and now all of a sudden they're going to go to the playoffs. It's just that give your fans something. Give them hope that you put this roster together. It's supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team. Give them some sort of hope. I mean, think about how bad it is right now. You got the Miami Dolphins undefeated, hanging 70 points on the Denver Broncos.
What a coaching job going on there. Huh?
I know, right? Sean Payton. You got the Buffalo Bills, and I know that you beat the Bills, but the Bills waking up and winning by 30 yesterday. And then the other team in the division that has beaten you 10 million times in a row comes into your building and beat you again yesterday. And you're sitting there with a losing record now with the reigning Super Bowl champions up next on the schedule. I mean, this is the worst possible situation you could have ever imagined.
All right, so take a look at this now. You got Kansas City at Denver and then Philadelphia at home. Yeah. And then they have their bye.
I mean, this is why they need to win this game. We talked about it for weeks.
Right. And if they, let's say they win, the Denver game anything's possible, but Russell Wilson's clearly the better quarterback on the field. Yeah. If, in fact, Zach Wilson is still the quarterback of the Jets in 2 weeks when they go to the Broncos. Week 7 is the bye, and then they come out of the bye and they got the Giant game. Could there be a new quarterback playing for the Jets by week 7? And then can you go on? Can you go on? Here's the thing. I don't know.
7? Man,
can you go on some sort of 7-game, 8-game win streak with a new quarterback? That's what you're asking. I'm just trying to lay it out.
I know, but why? You're telling me there's no chance we're going to see
Tim Boyle? Maybe it's the only other alternative right now.
But I'm serious. He can't be worse, man. And he's played. This is the thing. Like, I understand he hasn't been good, but he has played NFL football before. He has started some games. So it's not like we're talking about a guy who's never been out there.
I know. By the way, Mike White threw a touchdown pass yesterday.
I know. That's another thing about this. I know.
Do you know that the Miami Dolphins scored more touchdowns? I think they had 10 yesterday than the Jets had all first downs.
Yeah, of course. They had 10.
At one point,
10 times 7.
But
70.
I understand it, but I'm saying I think at the one point the Jets had only 8 first downs. I don't know if they ended with 8 or not. I kind of just lost interest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of the stats yesterday, late in the third quarter, something like 46 yards of total offense before they went on that drive to score a touchdown late in the game. The
thing that bothers me, though, is, you have the phantom sack where he kind of falls down after he has more than enough time to survey the field, and he's got a guy open who he just doesn't see over in the left flat. Then you have the 4th and 10 where he drops it off to Conklin, and it wasn't like he threw it to him immediately to give him at least the chance to catch the ball and actually break a tackle or two, which is what he was saying after the game. That ball came out late, and, Conklin had no chance to go make a play. So that's the awareness part of it that, either you have that or you don't. You watch C.J. Stroud in his 3rd NFL game yesterday. He's out on the field like he's the man, like he's a badass. And, you're like, okay, this kid gets it. It's still early in his career, but he looks like he could really play. And Zach hasn't really shown anything remotely close to that already. It's remarkable what's going on, and I feel bad for the kid. I really do.
I'm done being mad at Zach Wilson. It's not even about him anymore. I'm annoyed that I have to watch him play football, but it's not even his fault. It's not his fault anymore. He can't do it. It's the Jets' fault for putting him out there at this point. It's Rob Saleh's fault. It's Joe Douglas' fault. They're too stubborn. And I know sitting here and yelling for Tim Boyle sounds crazy, but it's just when you know that this guy can't play, you got to try something else. You just have to. So reach out to these guys that want to play. At least bring them in for a workout. And your point about why aren't you doing that to hurt his confidence? What are we doing? It's not his confidence that's holding him back. It's everything. He just can't play the game at this level. There's been a million busts at the quarterback position, high in the draft. Admit that you took one. Admit that you blew it. It's over. You have to come to the sense of self-awareness where you blew the pick. Now, do you want to put your jobs on the line? Because you've hitched yourself to this guy now for 3 years, and you're still standing up there behind the podium saying that you got Zach's back. Enough.
And that's the problem, because the owner is going to be, he's got people in his ear, that are not a part of the Jet organization, people in his sphere. The Narpian sphere that he's in, the political Narpian sphere where it's just a shank spot, it's a shit spot,
yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. The people that are in his life are telling him that this is ridiculous. I can't believe you allow this to happen. And eventually something's going to give, and he will react. I don't care what anybody says. I just wanted to give you something through the Zach Wilson's 25 career games.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Zach Wilson has the lowest passer rating in the NFL this season. We all know that at 57.0. He's already the only player since 1970 to finish last in passer rating in back-to-back seasons. He did so in 2021 and 2022. No player in NFL history has finished last in passer rating 3 straight seasons. He's got 0 3 TD games. He's got 1 100 passer rating game and 2 300-yard passing games. He has the 4th worst completion percentage through 25 games in the last 15 season. He has the worst TD to interception ratio than Jamarcus Russell through 25 games. I don't know what else to tell you. You compare him to Jamarcus Russell, who we all kind of pan and make fun of, and we thought it was like the ultimate bust.
Yeah, he had the crunk juice or whatever that was. What was it? Sizzurp. The Sizzurp he was drinking. Remember the Sizzurp? Purple drank, the Sizzurp. Yeah, good job.
All right, so Jamarcus Russell, 51.8% completion. Zach Wilson, 54.9. Yards per attempt, 6.2 for Jamarcus, 6.3 for Zach Wilson. TDs to interceptions, 17 for Jamarcus Russell, TDs, interceptions, 18. Zach Wilson, 17 TDs, 22 interceptions. Passer rating, 68 for Jamarcus Russell, Zach Wilson, 69.2. And I mean, we could talk about purple drank and maybe he had other problems off the field. I don't know. That's not the case with this kid. This kid just has a hard time processing, has no football awareness whatsoever. It's remarkable that a guy that would be drafted second overall would continue to play football like this. And I told you, the big part of this Aaron Rodgers experiment here was to get this kid better and to have him watch how a real professional quarterback, runs a practice, runs a meeting, ingratiates his players and leads his team. And Zach got a few months of that, didn't get enough of it, and it's showing itself again, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's why I said prior to this Aaron Rodgers injury, I didn't think he was going to be out for the year, but I said if he misses 2 or 3 games, you can't send Zach Wilson out there to try to save the day because you can't do it. They should have made him the third-string quarterback. They wanted to keep him on the roster, have a real legit veteran backup. They were going all in this season, and now it's all falling apart because they trusted this guy too much. And it's just, I'm telling you, if Joe Douglas had not made that pick, he would have been out of here. Everybody could see it. It's just that you don't want to be wrong. He doesn't want to be wrong. Well, you were wrong. Listen, you made a lot of great picks, Joe, and we love you. We really do. He's one of my favorite guys in sports in this town because of how great of a guy he is, some of the work that he's done here to turn this thing around. I think the guy's awesome. But when it comes to this, you got to stop. It has to stop. You were wrong. You were right on Garrett Wilson. You were right on Sauce Gardner. You were right on Elijah Vera-Tucker. You're right on a lot of stuff. Here, you were wrong. It's time to admit it and then move on.
Unfortunately, this is the most important one.
Yep.
This is it. This is the guy that, you remember like when Tua first started and everybody was like, I don't know. He doesn't have it.
It doesn't look right.
They took him over Justin Herbert and all this other stuff. And now you watch him. It's like ridiculous. I mean, it is. And maybe one of the great trades in all of the NFL is going to go down with, the acquisition of Tyreek Hill down there.
Well, and also Mike McDaniel, too, has got to get a ton of credit for being the next offensive genius, and the Dolphins got him.
Speed, baby. Speed kills, man. And it's really amazing watching it because, Tua is anticipating. He sees the field. He doesn't get nervous. I don't even think he got hit yesterday. I don't think anybody laid a hand on him.
Yeah, which is exactly what you're looking for after what he went through last year. And he's just extra salt on the wound for the Jets fan that the Dolphins look like a team that could go to the Super Bowl. All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network just getting started on this Monday morning. It is Boomer Day here as he will be heading out to Cincinnati after the show to get inducted into the Bengals Ring of Honor. Jerry joins us in just a couple of minutes with his first update of the day. Right now, I want to tell you about FanDuel, America's number